All right, Mark, we are back. So here's a poll. It's image 277. So go ahead and throw that up. Here's what's interesting about it. 78% of Americans support deporting illegal immigrants who commit crime, but there is less support when it comes to deploying the National Guard. Okay? So, but the argument for deploying the National Guard is that these ICE facilities are under siege. You have to protect your personnel, and you have to bring law and order. How do you square the circle or circle the square here? And, you know, it seems like there is civil unrest. There is quasi-insurgent forces or blatantly insurgent forces in these cities. What do you do if you're the Trump administration?
I wouldn't waste the money on the polling because this is moving too fast. There's too much ambiguity. These are not black and white things for people. I wouldn't know how to answer those because it's going to depend on the circumstance. There's no election anytime soon. Um, the
That's wise.
president's fate politically, the party's fate politically, will rise and fall above all else, and where the economy is next year, above all else by a lot. So this stuff gets a lot of attention. It's in the news. The economy is not as sexy as these things, but I just don't think it has much implication, either the polling or the political ramifications. What I think the Trump administration should do is they should protect, law enforcement officials, and they should continue to try to fulfill their campaign promises, which is to close the border and deport people who are here illegally, starting with people who've committed violent crime, and do it in a way that respects American traditions. As I said, I don't think any president should be so quick, such a short, tripwire to put military on the ground. I just think it's not consistent with American traditions, but it doesn't mean it should never be used. And if they can't find another solution to protect the ICE facilities, I think they'll have a lot of popular support for doing it if they do it the right way.
Well, and that's the key here, right? Is you got Tina Kotek in Oregon, you've got J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, Brandon Johnson. These local and state officials that are essentially refusing to cooperate with federal authorities. And you had this crazy story out of Chicago, the stand down order, where you get an ambush. The lady's wielding a weapon, a semi-automatic rifle. And there's some reporting that would indicate that, that maybe there was some police already there, and that's the way they're spinning this. But why wouldn't you rush, resources to an ambush on federal law enforcement and federal agents? I mean, the lack of cooperation is in a sense, Mark, the justification for bringing even more National Guard, because if you can't work with local law enforcement to protect you, then you need more of the National Guard to protect you. 30 seconds, Blake. I was before we welcome back.
I think his analysis is good. I just think in a second here we'll want to get into what also a lot of people are wondering about, the spying case in D.C. on the senators, what the political dynamics of that will be. So I guess if you want to think about that, Mark, we'll just be on the other side of this in 10 seconds. So we'll dig into that.
We'll bring back radio in about 5 seconds. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. We got Mark Halperin. Mark, real quick, we're going to get into this spying story, but tell people where they can follow you. Give us your coordinates.
My work on Next Up on the Megyn Kelly Network, just go to Next Up Halperin on any platform, and you can listen to it as a podcast, watch on YouTube. Shows twice a week. Today's episode drops later. Michael Knowles is one of my guests. We talk about Charlie, actually. And also Doug Sosnick, the Democratic strategist, if you want to understand the Democratic Party. He's your best bet. And then I do 2 shows a day on my two-way platform, twoway.tv. You can, again, find us on YouTube, wherever you want. Those would be the 2 main places to find me, Two-Way and Next.
I just want to give you a little bit of kudos here. Charlie thought your political analysis was among the best in the space, and you had a very clear mind. You predicted things pretty accurately, and you were amazing during the 2024 election. So check out Mark's stuff.
Very kind. I thought he thought I was the best, not amongst them.
Well, he told a lot of people. That was
damn great.
All right. Yeah. So I think let's hit this topic. So we've been, this Arctic frost thing has been getting revealed over the past several weeks, and especially now we have the story that the FBI requested phone records of 8 Republican senators. This appears to have been related to their investigation of election disputes in 2020. The New York Post is quoting someone who says it's worse than Watergate. But Mark, how about you give us your analysis of that situation?
Well, we should always be suspicious whenever the executive branch does criminal investigations of legislators. It's just, it's a sensitive area. And for sure, we need to know more. But the notion just that it's always wrong for there to be investigations of members of Congress, that's just not, then look at history. Lots of members of Congress have been indicted by the Justice Department, sometimes by a Justice Department controlled by the same party as the legislator, not always, though. So I want to know more, but I think people who are saying it's worse than Watergate, we just don't know enough. All they did, and again, I'm not minimizing it because we need to know more, all they did was get the metadata of some of their phone calls around January 6th. We need to know why they did that, how they chose the senators they did, but on the face of it, it's not worse than Watergate because all they did was get metadata, and that's not worse than Watergate, at least as far as we know right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's another image here that we can throw up. By the way, it looks like it's 276. This Jack Smith tracked private communications calls of nearly a dozen GOP senators during J6 probe, FBI says. Yeah. And 286 is another image, J6 probe phone records of Republican lawmakers. So this is, I mean, I appreciate you not, veering into hyperbole here, Mark, but it's pretty disconcerting. And I mean, there was a lot of conservatives that were looped into this investigation, and I'm, even Turning Point. So this is a pretty far-reaching thing, and really uncomfortable to as we learn details about this, especially given our proximity to some of this.
Yeah, and look, once you have an independent counsel, both parties have found this out. They hand out subpoenas like I hand out cotton candy at the carnival. They give it out to anybody who wants it, and we need to know more. There needs to be accountability, but no one was indicted. Nobody went to prison. And I'm not minimizing it. I just want to be clear, but let's follow the facts rather than just say anytime a special counsel or anytime the FBI looks at the records of a sitting official, that's meant to intimidate him or it's meant to be political. It might have been. I want to know, but we just don't know that yet.
Yeah, well, there's definitely no Democrats on this list. It's Senator Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville, Ron Johnson, who's the great Ron Johnson. We should get him on the show soon. Cynthia Loomis, Marsha Blackburn, and Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania at the time. Rep. Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania. Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff. We got a minute here left, Mark. Any final thoughts, any closing bits of wisdom you want to share?
Just ask everybody to be inspired by, as so many have been, by Erica Kirk's forgiveness and capacity to forgive. I think that is in too short supply in our society. And I think people on the left and the right and the middle and everywhere around should be inspired by someone's capacity to forgive in an unthinkable situation and maybe start to forgive more people in their lives. And I've taken that to heart and been inspired by it. And I cite it regularly. And I hope people consider how hard that was as compared to forgiving folks in their lives.
Yeah, well said. Mark Halperin, Two-Way TV, next up on the Megyn Kelly Network. You're doing great work, my friend. We'll have you on again soon, I'm sure.
Gentlemen, thank you.
And
honored to be on.
Thank you so much for just being a steady hand in the midst of this and helping people that maybe don't or didn't to help better understand Charlie and what he was all about. That means a lot to us here, and it didn't go unnoticed, so thank you.
Yeah. Grateful to you both for your leadership through this hard time. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, hour one is now in the books, and we have Andy Biggs, going to be the next governor of Arizona, coming on set here at the Charlie Kirk Show next. Stay right there.
They export a lot from here.
No, that is true. But if they're